Hello everyone, SimsEclaire here and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are kind of going back to my roots. We're doing a large family home. However, this is the first Tudor style, big Tudor style home I should say that I've had on my channel. I did a little cottage on a 20 by 15 lot that the interior was definitely not Tudor at all. It was just that I used the patterns from Get Together. But this house is actually base game and Get Together only. I was really happy that I was able to fill this whole house with Get Together and base game only because it is a huge house. This house ends up being 4 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms, I believe. Maybe it's 5.5 bathrooms, if I'm counting correctly. And yeah, I just really liked how this house turned out, and I hope you guys do too. You can kind of tell that I'm super excited to share this one with you guys because I've been working on this one for a while. I think this is about 2 weeks now that I've been coming back to this build and, changing things and making things just look a little bit nicer, particularly this roof area right here. This is not the final roof that ends up on this build. You can probably tell from the screenshots at the beginning, I was having a huge issue with trying to figure out how I wanted to do this roof, but I do end up figuring it out in the end, and I'm really happy with how the exterior of this build turns out, and the interior as well. Now, I am going to tell you guys, so this is a Get Together and base game only build. I did say that already, but if the gallery says that there's something in it that isn't Get Together, it is just because I forgot to delete something. So when I was first building this, I wasn't going to make it Get Together and base game only, and then I realized that for the exterior I really was just using Get Together, and I was like, why go ahead then and change this up if I don't have to? But I'd already done the floor plan, and when I was doing the floor plan, I had placed, because I knew I was going to do the plan and then leave and then come back to it later, so I placed random pieces of furniture throughout the house to remind me where certain things were going. And because of that, I might have accidentally left in a couple of unnecessary objects that are not Get Together base game only. I went through the build and I triple checked it and I made sure I deleted all of them, but just in case I missed a light or something, if it says that there's an object in here that is not Get Together or base game, just ignore it, and the house, it'll be a very unimportant object. I bet you won't even be able to tell that anything is missing. So yeah, so I just wanted to say that because sometimes I do forget. I get a little bit of a brain fart. I do apologize, and I accidentally leave small things in that don't really pertain to the build, but they do get flagged in the gallery. So I just want to let you guys know about that one. And I think I really enjoy this house because of how I did the exterior. I love doing exteriors. I'm sure you guys can tell I usually put a lot of detail into my exterior, and then I get on into the inside and I'm just I can just throw a picture here, and I've been trying to do a little bit better at making the insides look as good as my exteriors. But with this one, I had a lot of fun, especially with this driveway area. It doesn't look, it doesn't really look that big of a deal. It's just a plain driveway, but I really liked how I used the quarter tiles to kind of make it look like it expanded at the bottom, and how I had the 2 entrances to the house right at the front there. I thought that was definitely, it lended towards the style. And then I also love these ivy pieces. I forgot that these were a part of Get Together, so when I saw them in my game, as you can tell, I went back around and added them around the entire house. And I tried not to do too much because I definitely thought that the family who lived here took really good care of their home. They didn't let it get overgrown, but the pretty flowers, the ivy, they decided to go ahead and keep some of them. And I was going to use a mix of white and the pinks because I have the pink flowers around the perimeter of the house, but I did decide just to stick with white because I thought it looked nicer against the wood tones on the side of the house. And then back here, we were just setting up the back porch, but I did that really quickly. I cut a lot of the exterior out. When I shrunk the footage, so the exterior is at 7 times the normal speed, whereas the interior is at 6 times the normal speed. And at 7 times the normal speed, the exterior was longer than the entire time it took me to do the interior of the house. And it's a 4-bedroom house, so you know that this did not take me only 30 minutes, and it took almost double the amount of time for me to do this exterior, even all sped up, as it took for me to do the entire interior. And a lot of it was me, trying to figure out some logistics, trying to figure out the roofing, how everything was going to fit together. Some of my roofing was clipping into the inside and I had to keep going back to fix it. But yeah, so I thought that that was kind of interesting. So there is a lot cut out of the exterior, unfortunately, but it was also a lot of like my camera moving in ways that would look really bad completely sped up. So that was another reason why I went ahead and changed it, so that way you guys didn't get headaches from my camera moving around so much. But now we are into the interior. So this is where technically the front door is. There are two front doors though, like I said. There's the one here and then there's one off to the left. And the one off to the left ends up leading into kind of like a mudroom area. Initially it was going to be a laundry room, and then when I decided to just do get together and base game, I realized I wouldn't have laundry, so I did have to rethink that plan a little bit, but I think it still turns out to be a nice little space. And then going in here, this is the main living room. There is an entertainment room on the other side of the house, but that's a very small room, so I definitely thought that they would do most of their hosting like parties in here. And it has this grand fireplace with a mirror behind it, and as I was taking the screenshots, I kind of started to question my decision to place that mirror because it makes it look a little bit more modern than usual, or than I was going for, but I really liked how it looked here and like from this angle. So I don't know, I'm happy with how it looks. I just think the screenshot looked a little bit more on the modern side, especially with the marbling of the fireplace. But anyway, we're adding this divider back here because there's roses on it, and it kind of reminded me of, you know, the Tudor rose that was really popular back in the day. And then back here I was going to build a piano, but I realized that I didn't have access to the keyboard without City Living, so then I was going to try and add the grand piano, and obviously that's just way too big, so I did decide just to do a bookshelf and a little chair next to it just so they would have somewhere to sit and do their reading. And I want to apologize if there's some background noise. My dog keeps walking in and out of my room. I usually shut the door so like there is no noise whatsoever, but nobody else is home right now, so I didn't want my dog to be all alone. And he was just sitting outside in the hallway, but now he just keeps like walking back and forth in my room. So if you can hear him in the background, I do apologize. But anyway, now we are into the kitchen. So the kitchen is large. You can see I kind of just started placing counters everywhere, which is obviously not very realistic, but I didn't know what else to put. But I do go through and I remove some of the counters. You can see here I'm adding in the double stove because I'm going to have a double stove. Let's just be real about it. As long as I can afford it, I'm going to have a double stove, and I think it looks really nice in these Sims games. Obviously you don't need two stoves, but I figured like for a house this big, it kind of made sense. And then obviously I'm going through and I'm cluttering up everything, and I'm making it look, you know, used, but not too used, because I definitely thought that this family, I figured that the grandparents owned this house because there is two main bedrooms, so I did think that the grandparents lived on the bottom floor and it was their house, but maybe one of them was sick or one of them wasn't doing too well, so the family moved back in. The family moved back in, and the kids had to kind of uproot their life from the main town square of Windenburg to live here in this country cottage with their grandparents. And I definitely think that the younger kid is adjusting better than the teenager. You'll see when we get to the teenager's room, she has like all these posters around of like DJs, and it's a really nice room. I do actually really like it, but I definitely think that she was not adjusting as well as the younger one was. I think she misses, you know, being so close to her friends. Obviously they're still in the same, you know, world, so they're not that far away, but I think she misses being, you know, in the center where all the clubs are and all of the activities are. So I think that if you were to play with this house, that would definitely come into play a little bit. But now we're at the back door. This leads out to the back porch. I'm just placing a couple of decorations just to make it seem like an entranceway into the house. And I'm using these lights from Get Together Everywhere. They are huge. I do shrink them down every time that I use them because I think that they're just way too big. But they fill up the walls quite nicely when I don't have enough pictures from base game or Get to Work to fill up the spaces. So I am really happy about that one. And then going into here, this is the dining room. Now this is technically a very formal dining room, and there is another one, you saw me build it in the kitchen, but that does not seat all of the Sims. that would be living in this house, although I definitely figured that dining room would only be used for like a breakfast nook. Like I thought that if they were eating with the grandparents, they would always sit in here, because I mean, that might not be super realistic, but my grandma usually makes us sit at the formal dining table when we eat dinner. It's kind of annoying, but she, like, literally, we could be having pizza, like takeout pizza from just our local joint, like pizza joint, and she would make us bring the cardboard boxes out onto the formal dining table with the lace tablecloth, and we'd have to sit there and eat at this, like, on paper plates with this, like, pizza box just sitting in the middle of the table. So I mean, that's kind of like what my family does, so I thought that it'd be kind of funny if the family had to always sit in that dining room. And then going into here, this is the entertainment room that I was talking about. I do end up adding an extra tile on the right hand side though, because I wanted there to be a bar in this room, and I wasn't quite sure that it'd be functional with how quaint this room was, so I do end up adding just an extra tile. And it doesn't really take away that much space from the grandparents' room on the other side, because their room was huge to begin with, so I think it's okay. But I have a foosball table in here. The reason I wanted to do an entertainment room is because we got so much stuff for rooms like this from Get Together. Obviously, Get Together was all about the club system and bars and cafes and stuff like that. Nightclubs, we got nightclubs with this one, I do believe. And so I definitely wanted to kind of have a section of the house dedicated to those items that we got in the game. So that's why I chose to do this room here. We have the foosball, which came with this game, and then we also have a Don't Wake the Llama table, which I think can also function as a card table. And because this was owned by the grandparents, I definitely thought they'd have a card table over a dartboard, because I was going to place a dartboard, but I think the card table screams elderly more than the dartboard does. And then we're just adding a couple of decorations behind the bar and a little gramophone record, just so there's some music there. And then in here, this is going to be the grandparents' bedroom, so they do have their own ensuite, and so do the parents. And then there's an extra bathroom upstairs for the kids to use, and then there's two other ones down here besides the parents or the grandparents' ensuite. So there's a lot of bathrooms. Like I said, initially one of the rooms down here was supposed to be a mudroom, so I wasn't anticipating that being another bathroom, but I had the space, so I just decided to do it anyway. And I thought maybe if they had like a gardener or something, that could be when they got in from working on the outside, or because I do have a garden out back, so maybe the mom likes to garden or the grandmother likes to garden, so maybe when she's working out in the garden, she comes in and instead of like tracking her mud around, she washes her hands in the mudroom and stuff like that. So I definitely thought that that was kind of a nice little addition, especially since it's kind of off to the side of the front of the house. It's not like dead set in the center like the front is. But going into here, this is the grandparents' ensuite. I do end up adding a platform here where the bathtub is, because I've been seeing a lot of people doing bathtubs on platforms, and they usually do them as like a whole side of the wall, but I wanted to place a shower in here as well because baths just take way too long in the game. So I wanted to make sure there was a shower, and I didn't think it'd look right if there was a shower on the platform as well. So I just did this like little elevated bathtub, and I think it looks super cute. And then I do a couple of decorations, but not that many, because I didn't think that they would be, you know, the clutter type. And then this is the half bath that I was talking about, but I skip over that really quickly. And then this is the room that was obviously going to be the laundry room. I just placed the gardening tools in here and a couple of coat racks, and then a rug as well. I figured, even though it's a really fancy rug, I figured that would be like where they tracked the mud into, just because I didn't have another rug under the, you know, sorry, I had to yawn real quick there, but I didn't have another rug option under the, the base game and Get Together, unless I went for one of the super fancy modern ones from Get Together. But anyway, now we are on to the upstairs. So this is the hallway. I do decorate the hallway just a little bit. I get like a nice hallway table and a couple of plants and some wall decorations as well, just so that the hallway doesn't look super bare. I didn't decorate the downstairs hallway all that much, but if you guys notice, this is probably the most unopened floor plan that I have ever done in The Sims. Every room downstairs was completely separate. There was these super tiny hallways leading through everything, and I thought that that was a little bit more realistic in terms of like when this house would have been built, because open floor plans have not been popular, I should say. They've been around, but they haven't been popular for very long, so I definitely thought since this house was a little bit older, it definitely wouldn't have as big of an open floor plan as some of my other builds do. And then, like I said, this is just me filling up the hallway a little bit more. I'm adding some plants. I use that wall decoration from base game that has a whole bunch of different gardening tools in it because I do, like I said, I do add a garden to this house, so I figured that someone in this house gardened, whether it be the mother or the grandmother or the grandfather, or maybe one of the kids, like maybe the younger kid is really into nature. So not the older one, because like I said, I definitely thought they were into the club scene and maybe wanted to be a DJ or a dancer. But yeah, and then going into here, this is the upstairs office. I don't know why I said upstairs office. There is only one office, but this is the office, and there's a chess table, one of those bonsai trees that you can, I think that it's called the bonsai tree. Although maybe it's not. It's the tree that you can cut down yourself and like style. And then there's a desk with a computer and a bookshelf. And then this is the parents' bedroom. So it is relatively smaller than the grandparents' bedroom. But then again, I mean, it's not their house, so I definitely didn't think they'd have the biggest bedroom. And then I was having an issue with the dressers. I always forget to put dressers in bedrooms. I don't know why, but I always forget to leave space for them. And in fact, the kids' bedroom in this build does not have a dresser in it. I don't even think it has a mirror, so you might want to at least add a mirror if you download this, because they can't change in their own room if they don't have a mirror. So that's definitely something that I'm really sorry I forgot to place. It totally skipped my mind when I was decorating the kids' room. But this is the ensuite for the parents, and it has a bathtub and a shower just like the ensuite downstairs. And I think we skipped over it, because it went by really quickly, but the kids' bedroom only has a shower. They're under toddlers, so I didn't think that they would need a bathtub, and I didn't really think that they would want one either, because, you know, when I was a kid, I didn't really like baths. I much preferred showers. They were quicker and they didn't require so much work, so I didn't think that they would really need a bathtub. And then my initial thought for this kid was that they had just become a kid, because I was going to do 2 kids' rooms. I wasn't going to make one a teenager. And then I remembered that we had all those cool DJ posters and stuff from Get Together, so I really wanted to try and use those. So I did decide to kind of change up halfway through. This kid was, you know, a little bit older. They were in school, so I do end up giving them a desk instead of... Oh no, I don't think I take anything out. I think I just add a desk. I think I move the, what's it called? The toy box, and then I just put a desk here, and then where I have that chair in the corner, like off to the side, I end up putting the toy box. But I just place a couple of decorations on the desk just to make it look a little bit more lived in and like a kid lives in that room. And then this is the teenagers' room, so I also give them a desk. And I put a couple of posters above it, the ones from Get Together here, the ones that are like the DJ music. And I put their backpack off to the side. I used the black one with the skull and crossbones on it. And then I do remember to give them a dresser, so that's a bonus. I give them a dresser and a mirror, and again, just a couple of clutter decorations. Some of the more colorful ones, though, like this nail polish and the perfume. And then I also add a couple of other posters over here on this wall. But I did load that wall up a lot and then forget that there was 2 other walls in this room. But I think my favorite thing that I do is I put a dance floor underneath, almost like a rug, and I thought that maybe like she moved some of her furniture around and like practiced dancing upstairs in her room when no one else was home, because she really wanted to be a dancer or a DJ, and she really wanted to join that dance club that they have in The Sims. But moving on into the exterior here, I do just place a couple of outdoor activities for the Sims to use, and then that is it for this build. So I hope you all enjoyed this one. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all next time. Bye!